How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another top 10 vote for Extinction. These are the 10 finalists that have made it in, and I have to say, we've got some interesting contestants. In the link below, you will see the link to the ranked vote, and at the end of the video, I will show you how that works. But for now, we're going to check out all 10 of the finalists, starting with the Hatzegopteryx. So start at the top, work our way down. So, the Hatzeg has been in a few votes in the past, and it's honestly just like a Quetzal, but it's supposed to be an aggressive Quetzal on Extinction, so it's supposed to be attacking everything that it sees and all that stuff. It's crushing wyverns, it's addicted to element and element dust and corruption, all that. Yeah, highly aggressive, carnivore. Seeing a creature not fully corrupt in the wasteland is extraordinarily rare, if not impossible until today. Hatzeg is a savage monster of the skies. As of writing this, I'm observing it tearing into the element, vain towers that scatter the waste. Wow. So, despite its sheer ferocity, there does seem to be evidence that it can be domesticated. Hatzegopteryx seems to enjoy the thrill of battle, even from a young age, so any good adversary that can gain its respect may let it domesticate it, though you'd have to be utterly insane to attempt that. Be excellent for taking on hordes of corrupt creatures and gathering their nodules. I almost said modules, oh my gosh. Additionally, it would be great for harvesting the rich amount of element those corrupt spires contain. So yeah, that's kind of an interesting idea, and again, everyone has their own opinion. Feel free to agree and disagree with me in the comments. Civilly, though. I don't want to have to deal with any arguments, but yeah, it seems that the Hatzeg here... Excuse me, I thought I was gonna sneeze there for a second. It seems like it was going to... yeah, at first not make it, but or what was I going for? Not make it, but what I meant was, like, it's made it into top 10s in the past, but it always loses within the first couple of rounds. But who knows, it could make it this time. This is the final time they're submitting the jumping spider. It's going to be discontinued. Extinction will be the last submission with these creatures for ASA. And I've got to admit, the jumping spider was a good idea. Now I'm saying was because originally it was proposed to be a shoulder pet. A very helpful shoulder pet, and the art for it, I really love the art. However, now on Extinction, they want to supersize it, give it a saddle, make it mountable, put a turret on it, and personally, I'm not really into that. And the reason I'm not really into that is simply because we already have a rideable spider, the Aerosteon, which has needed a TLC for the longest amount of time, okay? It can't carry crap, it can't climb walls. The Aerosteon had that, then, you know, we wouldn't have all this happening. But a shoulder pad spider would have been nice. And I honestly think Extinction isn't the best map for this. I also don't like the fact that they're making it... I have something on my screen. There we go. I also don't like the fact that they're making it rideable. I personally think it would have looked so much better as a shoulder pad. Yeah, it's... Yeah, I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I like it. This was an excellent idea. But for me, I think Aberration would have been the best place for this creature. But, yeah, we don't have Aberration as an option anymore. So, yeah, it's not going to make it too high in the vote for me this time, simply because it's not a shoulder pad. It's not really what I'm looking for. In the past votes, I will admit I would put it as either second or third on my list, but now it's probably going to be a little further down. Just because I think it would have served so much better as a shoulder pad. Now, the next one we have is the Aerosteon, the elusive thingy, whatever this is. Oh my gosh, but it looks so cool. I love how they have the corruption on it. I love how... Okay, and they have just little fan art going on down here. Okay, so it can lunge, it can inject you with poison. Okay. Oh, you have to feed corrupted hearts. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, and they're proposing it to be in the Forbidden Zone. Ooh. The Forbidden Zone, not far from the King Titan Arena. That's a tough spot to tame something. So this gotta be tough to tame, but I do like the artwork a lot, and a lot of the voting is based off of the artwork. Wildcard does scrap some abilities from time to time, but I think the artwork looks pretty cool. I am getting some Thylacosmilus vibes if it's going to be a quadruped, but if it's going, because the way it's walking right here, it looks like a quadruped, even though it's a biped. So if it's going to, yeah, look like that, I would be getting Thylacosmilus vibes, but at the same time, it looks pretty cool. So I think this one is going to make it a little higher up on my list. Now, we also have the Thylacosmilus, which is basically an idea to be a new and improved Thylacoleo, from what I understand. That's the idea behind this. Yeah, because look at it. It looks just like a almost just like a Thyla, and I am familiar with this creature because if some of y'all know me, you know I'm a paleontology fanatic. I will look into all sorts of, I will read all sorts of books and articles and all that. Yeah, so I mean, it does have those kooky jaws, and it, just like the Thyla, it was an Australian marsupial. But I like the corruption. I like the artwork on it. But I doubt it's gonna win, simply because simply, in my opinion, I doubt it'll win simply because it is so strikingly similar to a Thyla. And a lot of people, and this is really interesting, this is something that's really interesting about ARK. Some people do not mind new creatures being introduced that are practically the same as a pre-existing creature, and some people are like, no, we want to keep this pre-existing creature. Like when the Sinomacrops was introduced, it took over for the Archaeopteryx as the shoulder pet backpack, because the Archaeopteryx, it wasn't that popular anyway, because you had to hold on to it and you couldn't, you know, access it. If the Archaeopteryx had been holding your shoulders with its legs, then the Archaeopteryx probably would have been a much more popular mount. But since that wasn't the case when the Sinomacrops was introduced, everyone was like, yeah. But a lot of people were like, no, we already have that. So yeah, that happened. And I can see the same argument being made here about that. Some people saying, oh, this is the new and improved Thyla, this dude will be awesome. And a lot of people saying, no, stick with the Thyla, stick with the OG, we don't need that. Let's get something that is very new and very different. And I'm honestly kind of torn, because the Thyla is a really, it's an amazing mount. So this thing would need to be just jaw-dropping. This thing would need to make me want to just put every Thyla to shame. That's how impressive I would need this thing to be if it were to win. Okay. Now this next thing we have here, the Ozimek, the anti-flyer. That thing's creepy. That's creepy. Oh my gosh, that looks like some Halloween monster almost. And Halloween's coming up, so who knows? I may not have to do any Halloween decorations for my house. I might just be able to print out this image, hang it. Just a giant image of this, put it on my front door, and all the kids will be scared. Oh my gosh, this thing is creepy. But yeah, I love the art. It's so creepy, but so goofy too. Yeah. I think this is pretty interesting, because I'm getting Rock Drake and Maywing vibes from this thing, but I'm also seeing it having promise, because on Extinction you have Rock Drakes, but they're corrupt Rock Drakes, so you can't tame them, and you can't find any eggs. There's no nest. And a lot of people will go to Extinction and see the Managarm and be like, oh, let's get a Managarm, it's amazing. And the Managarm, its stamina goes down super fast. It's constantly got the Hershey squirts. So it's a love-hate relationship a lot of ARK players have with the Managarm. It's like, oh, it's amazing, you can get from A to B super fast. The only downside is you run out of stamina like that, and you're constantly stopping, you're constantly pulling over to find a place for your Managarm to do its business. Yeah, so this has potential if it's not constantly running out of stamina, and if it's not constantly pooping. If it's not constantly doing those things, if it runs out of stamina fairly, but not like insanely fast, then yeah, that's good. If it's fast like a Managarm, doesn't have to be as fast as a Managarm, but if it could be like a close second, yeah, that's pretty interesting. But yeah, this fella here is pretty interesting, so yeah. Let's see, what do we have next? Okay. And it's back again, the Gorgon, and... Okay, it has, please read. Oh my gosh. To the people frustrated with Gorgon, we hear you. This is the third time we have posted it, as it's designed for a desert map, Scorched Earth, Ragnarok, and Extinction, because Extinction has that desert biome. Prior to this, other Gorgonops have been posted, which may add to your frustration. We have taken as many suggestions and opinions into account as possible, but will permanently retire this concept after the extinction vote. Okay, so Gorgon will be no more if it loses this one. Give the Gorgonops your honest ranking and not rank it according to your frustration if it does make it to the second round. Whether that puts it in 10th or first place or any place in between is of course up to you. A lot of work has gone into this concept, and we would hate to see that go to waste this way, but of course every journey comes to its end. We hope this is not too much to ask. To the people who are frustrated with Gorgonops, thank you for your consideration. To the others, thank you for the support. Truly amazing to see how much of you are here for the Gorgon. Team Gorgonops. Okay. Now, I do like the corruption that they did, and the Gorgon is an interesting idea. But here's why I'm not frustrated with it, but here's why I'm probably not going to rank it very highly. The Gorgon, I think it's something that at the end of the day, it's going to be just like the Carcharodontosaurus. I'm sure Wild Card is going to be spammed 24/7, not by Team Gorgonops, but by the supporters of Team Gorgonops, by the supporters of those who want to see this added to ARK. I think Wildcard will be spammed, and at the end, add the Gorgonops probably to the island, because the island never actually got an ASA vote, because the Rhinognatha actually went to ASE. So, in a way, I don't consider, because they say, oh, well, the Rhino, is also the ASA vote, because, it just so happens to be an ASE as well. But it's also going to be an ASA. Yes, it will, but all of these creatures we're voting here are exclusively ASA. The Rhino wasn't. So I'm willing to bet if Wildcard does cave on the Gorgon, it will probably appear on the island. And like, the reason I'm not very interested in the Gorgon has some interesting aspects. Okay, it can detect traps, it can track creatures, and it can carry knocked out creatures on a special transport sledge. I'm reading the dossier. Now, it's absolutely interesting. I think the Gorgon in the past should have won one of the past votes, but now, seeing that there is so much more diversity, I just don't think it would fit in all too well with the theme of Extinction, because a lot of Extinction travel is done in the air or on the back of one of the titans after you've tamed them. Mainly the ice titan and the desert titan. Okay, the forest titan, it just bam, 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 and it takes you like forever just to make 4 steps up a cliff. Like, actually takes you forever to find a way to get up a cliff. So I honestly think eventually, some way, somehow, it's going to end up in the game. I honestly, truly believe that. But I don't think it's going to end up through a creature vote. That's just my honest opinion. If you disagree with me, if you think I'm being too hard on the Gorgon, if you think I'm just not taking into consideration things about the Gorgon, you know, I understand. I understand you're entitled to your opinion, but at the end of the day, remember, we all are entitled to our own opinions. So feel free to disagree with me in the comments, but again, civilly. So, but I do see this being added to ASA eventually. Or heck, maybe even ARK 2. Who knows? It may even show up in ARK 2. But yeah, I don't really see it winning a creature vote, but if it does, I'm not complaining. I think it will definitely be made to fit Extinction. But we also have the Dreadnoughtus. Now, the Dreadnoughtus has been entered, I think, once before. It was entered for Ragnarok. And the submitter of Dreadnoughtus for the Ragnarok vote, I think Dreadnoughtus is an interesting submission. Now, let's see here. Yeah, here's the size replica. Not as big as a Titanosaur, but a very close second. And here it is to the Titans. I think that if the Dreadnoughtus is added, if it's something that could potentially, if you could get like a Dreadnoughtus army and they could take out the Titans, probably not the King Titan, but the Forest and Ice Titans, that would be really cool because we're used to everyone using Gigas, using Rexes, Allos, things of that nature. For the people who are patient enough to tame a Titanosaur, that is not me, by the way. Yeah, I just don't have that patience. Titanosaur, if I could just pop it in the butt a couple of times with the Trank Dart, sure. But no. Cannonball to the head, I don't have that kind of patience. I do with rock golems, but not with Titanosaurs, because Titanosaurs have way too much torpor. But what I'm getting at here is I think it would be cool to have an herbivore that could take out some Titans. I think it would be cool to have a big tanky herbivore, which is why Dreadnoughtus probably will end up maybe not being my top vote, but get within the top 5, maybe even the top 3, because I do like the design. It definitely fits Extinction really well. The concept art fits Extinction incredibly well, and I can honestly see, yeah, and that's just more. But I can see the Dreadnoughtus fitting in very well with Extinction. Not my favorite, but it is a good one, and it's one I would be very happy to see in Extinction. Yeah, simply because we could use another herbivore. We could use a tanky sauropod that is not a pain in the butt to tame. please be as simple as a Bronto, or heck, have a bunch of nests and let us go out and snatch your eggs and you be surprisingly faster than we expect. I don't know. But yeah, Dreadnoughtus, if it wins, I won't be disappointed. I don't think I will be disappointed with it. I think this is a very valid entry. I think it fits the map very well, and I'm looking forward to see whether or not it wins. The Darwinopterus. A Corruption's Chaotic Vessel. Oh my gosh, this thing is kooky. I'm getting Cynomacrops wing design vibes, but that just could be just this artwork. That could be a coincidence. There it is again with the Hatzeg. And the Darwinopterus, I think that's a really interesting design, but it has the purple corruption, so I wonder what it's going to be like. I do like the purple. I do like how vibrant it is. Temperament chaotic. Okay, so this thing's probably going to be a pain to tame. Yeah, this thing does look really, really interesting. Okay, size comparison, the approximate size. It compared to rideable flyers. Okay, so Darwinopterus, there's the Pteranodon, Snow Owl, Argent, Tapejara, and this would be the Managarm. This would be a Managarm or a Wyvern. Okay, so it's roughly Pteranodon Snow Owl size. Okay, so it's small, but it's not too small. And hopefully it's something that's not going to run out of stamina 2 seconds after you take off like a Pteranodon. That would be disappointing. And hopefully it has a good weight stat, unlike a Pteranodons are so cool. They are reasonably fast on, like, say, the island, but their stamina and their weight is so frustrating. I could care less about hit points and melee on a Pteranodon, but since I mainly use them to get from A to B, but still, that stamina and weight, it's horrible. Hopefully this doesn't have it. If it makes it into ASA, this thing better not have that bad stamina and weight. But yeah, I think this would be an interesting creature to see in Extinction, to see another flyer. Something that could apparently harvest corruption. Yeah, that's pretty interesting to see. It's uninterested in hunting non-corrupt creatures, so it only goes after corrupt creatures. So survivors can walk up to them in the wild freely. Okay, so it would be the same as like the defense units in the city. Okay, that's cool. One must feed it corrupt nodules to gain its affection. At a certain point, its crest will become corrupted, and it will enter temporary frenzy mode. Survivors must protect it while it breaks away its crest, then resume the feeding. That's kind of interesting. The taming method in the domesticated section is a little out of date. Disregard the protection part. Okay. So, ignore that part. Okay, so you just feed it corrupt nodules, which is basically organic polymer. So you just go out, kill some corrupted creatures, and passively feed it nodules. That seems pretty interesting to me. So yeah, it's an interesting creature. And now 2 more. The Sauroposeidon, the second sauropod we have here. Stomp to the beat. So apparently it's going to be just like a mammoth. Where... Omni movement, that's a cool idea. Become an instrument of war, so you play a minigame, I guess, to take reduced damage or deal out more damage. That's cool. Tail crack, that's cool. Neck ram. Rallying call. Okay, so this may be kind of like the Yudi. Maybe giving a damage boost, or maybe giving a reduced damage or a health boost to your creatures. That would be kind of cool to see. A music battle to tame it. Wow, that's kind of... I can see Wildcard scrapping this part. But that would be kind of cool. That would be kind of cool, even though I cannot play music to save my life. In real life. So, video games? Sure, I can give it a shot. Even though I've only played Guitar Hero once in my life. The tech sound, you could play the ARK soundtrack from the tech sound. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Oh my gosh. It's goofy, but at the same time, that's very creative. I really like that. That's really goofy, but really creative. So yeah, bringing in a little more music to ARK with this fella, Gareth Coker. Get ready, if it wins, you're gonna have a lot of work to do. Okay. And it's in the Sunken Forest. Okay, we need more stuff in the Sunken Forest. I just have to say, the Sunken Forest is underpopulated. Everyone goes to the snow biome. Everyone goes to the desert biome. Everyone's in the city. No one goes to the Sunken Forest that I can think of other than to take on the Forest Titan. So, yeah, that would be really, really a really good way to get people to go in the Sunken Forest more often. Alright. In the Edmontonia, the last one. This is pretty creative. Yeah. Spike thrust inflicts stacks of powdered flint. Swap between that and tail stance. Spacebar stance change. Default attack is a whip, but you can ignite the powdered enemy. Oh my gosh, that is insane. That is hilarious. Oh my gosh, so that would deal a ton of damage to any predators, because carnivores take increased damage from, like in the dragon arena, they take increased damage from the breath attack. If they're in the volcano and accidentally step in the lava, I'll take increased damage. So I can see this happening. Okay, because there aren't, to my knowledge, there aren't any lava flows on Extinction. You have the sulfur fields where you'll overheat, but that's pretty much it. You can build barricades, okay. Harvest metal like an Anki. You harvest spark powder automatically when gathering stone. Okay, so you don't need a mortar and pestle for spark powder. That's interesting. And apparently this guy loves setting houses on fire. Okay, yeah. Why don't you stick to being in the game? How about that? Yeah, we don't need you in the real world. We just need you in the game. Yeah. I can imagine you being in the real world and the fire department shows up and everything. What's the cause of the fire? Oh, and Edmontonia decided it didn't like these people living in their house, so it decided to set their house on fire. Yeah, no. But this is a cool idea. Oh, and it's found around the sulfur fields. Okay. Okay, they'll be the size of a stego. That's pretty cool. Okay. Alright, but yeah, that's going to do it for the creature submissions. That's all 10 of them. And yeah, as I said, we've got some interesting creatures here this time. I don't see any creatures that are unqualified for extinction. I do see some that I personally wouldn't vote for, and I'm sure you guys know which ones I was referring to. I can see a lot that I would vote for. Yeah, so that's just about gonna do it for the video. So yeah, if you haven't already, smash that like button, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time, but first, go over to the rank vote. This is how you vote for your creatures. Take whatever you want to vote, put it up top, and everything that follows is the order of what else will be put in first place. So if the Aerosteon is eliminated, Meva Eureka will become the #1 creature. You know, I haven't voted. This isn't my order yet. I'm still figuring it out. But hey, if you haven't already, smash that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.